had term limits initially. The first, I think, was 7 or 8 years after the Declaration of Independence.
So this is under the Articles of
Under
Confederation.
the Articles of Confederation, we had term limits. And the reason they didn't work is because it provided an excuse for corruption. If a legislator could only serve for 2 years, he would confine his corruption to his last year in office, steal whatever he can, do whatever he can, defraud in whatever direction he chooses, and he doesn't have to worry about it because he doesn't have to worry about getting reelected. The way it is now, we have to worry about getting reelected. And I think that's a wonderful principle. A legislator or a political official, elected official, should have a good reputation and be reelected on that basis. Whereas when we had term limits, since they could not run for office again, they had nothing to lose by being known as a crook.
Okay.
And nobody's going to vote for them anyway.
They're done. Right?
Yeah, they're done.
Uh-huh.
So that's the big argument, the big thing against term limits. Yeah. Balanced budget amendment is a little bit different, but the fact is that the Constitution of the United States enumerates the powers of the federal government, right?
Right.
They're listed there. And if all of those powers are adhered to, there will be no unbalanced budget.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So if we're actually using the Constitution if we're using the government the way that the Constitution already outlines, then there's really not a way to unbalance the budget. That's a very interesting thing.
Yeah. Then another point here too. When our country began, our founding fathers weren't exactly the Rockefeller billionaires of the world.
Well, yeah.
And we had to borrow. Our country, we had to borrow money to get America started.
Right.
And I agree with maintaining that latitude, that prerogative, at least. Yeah.
That there are times where you need to
borrow.
We
need to borrow.
Right. It's interesting. There's, as I've been looking at different representatives that say different things publicly about balanced budget amendments, etc. One of the things that's brought up is and it's in the conservative movement. Thomas Massey from Kentucky, he'll say, well, that's interesting because the any exception that you put in your balanced budget amendment then becomes permanent. It's at risk for becoming permanent to the rest of the Constitution. So, for example, if you put in an exception for times of war, then aren't we encouraged and incentivized to just always stay at war, right? Or in states of emergency, where we currently have like 34 states of emergency. So we will always be in a state of emergency because Congress, if nothing else, is incentivized to spend money. So they'll just pick an emergency and then keep it there, and you'll just unbalance. Now you'll just create a permanent exception inside of that.
Precisely.
As much as it's really annoying to watch my congressman continually vote for an unbalanced budget, it just invokes that say, like, well, you know what? Maybe I should activate a little bit more. Maybe I should call him up a little bit more, do more things to say, Congressman, don't blow up my Constitution. Please balance the budget.